All right, welcome to this week's market review video. 500 index, it's hitting all-time highs. We have some sort of a top and tail here, but volume's nothing crazy. It's holding the ADMA. The 21's going up, the 8's going up, 50's going up, the 20, the 200's going up. Everything's going up, right? Very strong move from the low to the all-time highs. 19% move in 34 days. We are up, let's go basically to the close, 18.25% in 38 days. Strong move, very strong move. If we look at the NASDAQ, even stronger, 30% in 33 days. If we pull on over, we are up 30% in 38 trading days from this low to current price. So again, very strong market. What's been driving it? Chips. Chips has been driving it. Let's look at the equally weighted. Equally weighted. So this is taking the weight of all 100 NASDAQ names and displacing the weight of the market caps evenly instead of the heavyweights such as NVIDIA and Apple and Amazon and Microsoft, et cetera, et cetera. And this is breaking out to all-time highs, right? If you want to look at the RSP, equal weight. S&P 500, equal weight. So again, taking out the weight of Microsoft, NVIDIA, et cetera, this is breaking out to all-time highs. I like to look at this as more of the overall market. It's strong. It's strong. Why? I would not fight the tape. I wouldn't do it. So let's look forward to some names that I think that are in play specifically this week. Amazon. Amazon's in play. It's breaking out to all-time highs. Nice downtrend line. This is a nice base breakout retest, and it's pushing away. You can even look at this downtrend line here, and now it broke out of that downtrend line. If you like the technical analysis stuff, and now it could be going for a retest. I like the retest of the 21 down here. Wouldn't be that bad. The 3-day pivot, the low is right here, 264.60-ish area. Anywhere within the 62 to 64 area, I think is a decent area to potentially risk against. You can even risk this low. What is that? Thursday's low. That give you a real tight. If you need a little bit of extra space to risk on, you got the 255, this low to lean on down here. Even if you could do this, also if you're an anchor VWAP person, right there, 264. Again, you can see that it held on that Thursday morning there, pulling back to it. I think that's an interesting area to potentially risk against on a strong name. Meta, it's not really doing anything. It's chopping around. We're going to move straight on through. Google, it's getting a little pullback. It's had a strong move. I think it needs some time to digest. So we're going to let it do that. I am. Oracle, nothing too crazy here. Apple's another strong name, hitting all-time highs. This is a place to be. If you look, big base, breakout, it continues to trend up the 8. It's probably more so the 5 or something like that. It's a very strong name. It's a little extended for my personal liking. I would really more so like a pullback, maybe to retest this breakout high here, this pivot on gap low of 302.92. That's an area to look at. 8 EMA is an area to look at. So within this 303 to 300 area, somewhere look for some sort of entry to risk against. I think to set a higher low relative to this low. Again, if you're an anchored VWAP person, you can do this, make it an interesting area of 302 to potentially watch against. So Apple is another place you need to be at, in my opinion. It's a place that I am focusing on as well. Tesla, I made a nice trade on Tesla. It was some 8 to 9 R, 10 to 1, 9 to 1, 10 to 1, somewhere around there. Actually, hang on. I can figure it out right now. My entry was here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I was way off. 6R. I'm not mad about it. It was a nice trade, and I am continuing to look for entries on pullbacks for this name. I entered down here. I had a real nice entry down there. And once you held it for 3 days, basically my first target was this pivot on gap at this 428.33. We filled that. I failed to get out in time. I was really looking. I had my exit order out here at 434. It never got there, so which is fine. But then we have that gap here just above. So I'm looking for some sort of pullback to potentially risk against again within this 416 to 413 area. If I take a stab at it and lose, that's fine. I have an area and plan for risk against. But overall, Tesla, I still think is a place to be. And Palantir, nothing special here. Move on. CrowdStrike, super strong, very extended. Look how many days up it is. That's pretty nuts. I'm not touching that. Now looks like it's trying to turn around, but not yet. Adobe continues to fail to break out of this range. Move on. Snowflake is back in this range. You missed the move. If you want to risk a trade of 182, $10, you have this prior supply area and the 200. But for me, the risk reward is just not there. You move on. DDOG, you move on. MDB, I think this is a place to be in, a place to pay attention to. Firstly, you have the anchor view app from this gap up on volume, pulled back pretty close to it, and it held nice. It tagged prior supply here, pulled back. I think this is setting a higher low within this area. You can see that here, this prior high broke out, came back to retest it, and now setting a higher low relative to this area, this 292. I'm looking for it to turn back up, honestly. So I don't actually mind MDB. Any pullback within probably Friday's range, I wouldn't mind taking, especially into this pivot on gap here. I wouldn't mind taking that as well. So I am going to specifically look for entries potentially for MDB this week and for potential continuation into next week. CRM, Salesforce, I don't think it's actionable just yet, but it looks like it's trying to turn around. Could be very wrong. It continues to fail at a downtrending 50 EMA, but it could just start the base here, eventually get over the 50 and continue. But until that happens, not interested. IBM, you missed this move. I was looking on Friday. I got my alert right there. Never came down, never tagged it, hit prior supply, hit 200 EMA. There's nothing interesting here. It needs to set up and rest. Netflix, nothing interesting here. NVIDIA, your earnings is finally out of the way. The breakout and the retest is interesting. What I find even more interesting is this pivot on gap, this 211.12 to 210.35. I'm watching that personally. Matter of fact, I'm going to set an alert on it. The 21 is pretty close. I'm looking for the breakout retest to say a higher low versus this low here. If you want to put an anchor VWAP at this low, the average participant is already underwater relative to that low. So that's not the best look. Maybe undercuts it. The more time it spends underneath there, the more pressure the longs have, and they want to potentially liquidate. So we'll see. Not the best look, but either way, this area I think is still interesting. A more interesting area would be 206.37 to 203.44 with confluence of the 50 EMA to set a higher low relative to this low of 194.74. I think that'd be a pretty solid play as well set up. Let me get back to wherever you were. Sorry. I'll go. Broadcom, nothing to see here. AMD, like it's strong. It's a place to be in, but it's hard. It's hard, especially after this extended move. Bull flag, boom, broke out of it, hit all-time highs. Now it's selling off. Now it has a gap. Watch to see what it does at this gap. If it can't fill it, the base is around, and then maybe it starts to head on higher. But we got to see what happens at this gap. 3-day pivot is 453.91. Interesting area. It's just hard. It's hard for me to trade those right now because of how extended that they are. TSM, chopping around, nothing really to do here just yet. Micron, same thing. Ideally, some digestion will happen. MRVL technology, strong name, hitting all-time highs, up and to the right, pretty whippy. I'm not a super fan of it, kind of just marching on higher. Be mindful, earnings is on Wednesday, so I'm not touching it, especially, I just won't be touching it until then. INTC, holding above the anchor VWAP from all-time highs. It had a nice pullback of how much here? 22, 23%, call it, in 6 days, and then bounce from there. It's a strong name. It's a strong name. It's somewhere to be. Volatility is here. You just have to be mindful and be pretty accurate on your entries here. ARM, what a move. From this low right here to the high right here in 4 days, 50%. I'm not chasing it up here, but I am for sure watching for a potential entry. My ideal entry would be a little bit of a steeper pullback, probably into this 252.07 to 242.76 pivot on gap. The 3-day pivot is up there. It's a little bit deeper than the 3-day, but I think if we can get into this area, fill it and then come back out, or not even fill it, don't even get to 242.76 and come back out of the 252.07, then ideally, I think you can risk that $10 or so. It's kind of a wider risk, a little bit wider. So I'd be looking for an entry point somewhere in there. Matter of fact, I'm going to set an alert right now somewhere within there. If I don't get a deep pullback like that, it's too extended for me and I missed it, which is fine. Qualcomm, I think, is also a place to be in, hitting prior supply area. Somewhere within this bar, I'm going to set an alert at the 3-day pivot right here, bottom below. See if it can even undercut Friday's low, but you can see volume climbing in here again. Tag the 8 EMA, trending up, hitting all-time highs. It's holding. It's all-time high close, actually, which is pretty cool. So strong name, a place to be. DELL, also a place to be. Look at the volume. Just be mindful. We have earnings on Thursday, hitting all-time highs. A place to be. Set an anchor VWAP for a second day continuation entry potentially. So basically what you would do is, if you look at the 5-minute chart, there's the anchor VWAP from the breakout on high volume. On tomorrow, Tuesday, look to see where price opens up at. If it comes back, tags that anchor VWAP, and then you put VWAP for tomorrow and it gets above that VWAP, you can use this VWAP as a low. You can use the low of the day tomorrow. There's a few different ways you can manage your risk. It depends on how the setup goes. But either way, DELL is a place to be, in my opinion. HPE, another place to be, breaking out to all-time highs. If you're a breakout trader, these are the names you want to watch. It's volatility. You go where volatility is as a trader, especially if you're a short-term trader. 1 to 5 days, 2 to 5 days, 3-day holds, 2 to 3-day holds, things like that. Find the volatility as it's your friend. You just have to have your plan ahead of time. WDC looks pretty interesting. Matter of fact, I do like this pivot on gap here. If it breaks 494.16, you might be able to risk 490.82. It'd be nice. It'd be real tight risk. If you get a move off of that, you're gonna have quick reward on it. If not, you're wrong quickly, which is also good. Everything is up. Trend is up. Everything's up and to the right. A place to be. Seagate, only 3% off of all-time highs. Another strong game. I am looking for a potential gap fill here from 154.77 to 169.91. What if it happens this week? I don't know. We got 4 days to trade. I don't see why not. It is a potential. This name can move. So I'm looking for a gap fill on Arista Networks this week, potentially, maybe even into next week. We shall see. CIN, nothing here. Coherent. This is a strong name. I like. You can see that it likes to break down trend lines and then move. Down trend line move, pull back. It's above the 8. It's above the 21. It's holding anchor VWAP from this low. It's above the prior day pivot. It closed above Friday's pivot. It's above the 3-day pivot. Everything's above. It looks good. It's a strong name in my opinion. Let's see. Is it above the anchor VWAP from all-time high? Guess what it is. So it's a strong name. Coherent. COHR is a place to be in my opinion. I'm setting a potential entry alert down there. GLW, Corning, looking pretty good. A place to be at. I'm not looking for anything specific here. LIT, it's getting a little choppy here. It's not super clean, but it's a strong name. ENTG, nothing crazy. CoreWeave, I mean, it's trying, but I think it needs a little bit more time. NBIS, this is a place that you want to be at potentially this week. Nice base breakout, retest, pushing off, making higher highs and higher lows. Nice uptrend above the 3-day. Had an inside day on Friday relative to Thursday's day. I would not mind a pullback to 197.45 to 193.70 on that pivot on gap, see if that holds. Maybe even a little undercut of and reclaim of the 8. Maybe require a pretty strong bottoming tail out of 1 day, but maybe over 2 days or so wouldn't be that bad of an idea. IREN getting tight, breaks, makes this high here, comes back in, sets a higher low here. I want to see if this can make a higher high. I do think it's a potential. However, the risk reward of it potentially failing in this area again, I think it's better if it breaks out and then holds that and then moves higher. And you can look at all-time highs, the 76 area. So I do, whether that happens this week, I don't know. CORZ, this is one for this week to watch out. Breaking out all-time highs, all-time high close. Look at the weekly, all-time high close. Strong names, weak names don't do that. So I would be, personally, I'm looking for an entry on CORZ here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set, we can look at the 30-minute chart here. We want to see if this holds. I wouldn't mind a little pullback into this area, maybe touches the 8, undercuts a 3-day, touches this prior day pivot, and then gets back above 25. I think that'd be a pretty solid trade to risk somewhere within this area. It just has to happen first. APLD, another name. I've actually been saying that, hey, this is an area you should probably be paying attention to. Breakout, retest, rockets off. This is a name that you should probably be paying attention to. I'm not saying chasing it. Matter of fact, I'm not telling you to do anything because I don't give financial advice or trading advice. This is just my thoughts and opinions. They're not fact, and I'm not telling you to do anything. But what I am looking for is a pullback into this area. We do have a gap here now from this low of 42.30 to a high of 39.58. So we got to see if that gap holds. If it holds, it sets a higher low versus here, and then then we can potentially break out to all-time highs. We're only 5% away, so it's a pretty solid look. GEV looks pretty decent. Also, looking at the daily, I don't know when or if it's quite ready just yet. It could potentially. We got to wait to see if it makes a higher low here. We have to maybe within this $1,000 area creates a higher low and then breaks out. So basically, what I am looking for here is this and then a breakout here and then we can go level by level and blah blah blah. So I'm looking for something like that in GEB. It's just not there just yet. I could be very wrong. VRT, nothing to see. The cat, nothing to see there. BE breaking out all-time highs. Strong name, somewhere you want to be at. Now you just got to be mindful that it undercut this range here, rocketed to the upside. From failed moves comes fast move, and now this could be a failed move. So if it gets too deep within this range, I'm not going to touch it. We could get a gap or a pivot on gap fill here at 281 to 278. It's a little sloppy, but the name trades sloppy. I'm not super interested in it. Oil might be in play. Prior supply area, all-time or not all-time high, but breaking 2 highs, you got to see if this low is a higher low relative to here. So that's a potential. CVX is also a potential here with this little pullback. LNG undercut, pivot on gap right there, 235.09. Hell, you can't unsee these things once you see it over and over and over and over and over again. Held at the 200 EMA, undercut, came back in. So this looks like it's trying to find support here, and also this gap area here continues to fill in. So it looks like it's trying to turn around. KMI, I've been talking about this for a while. I haven't touched it, but from basing, got back in this range. Opposite end range is target. Now it's 50% through. This could be a potential higher low relative to here. At the 8 EMA, 50% of that range. It's interesting. CCJ, nothing to see here. Move on. SMR, it's a strong, no, actually, sorry. It's a potential strong candidate for the future, but it's not a strong game right now. It is getting absolutely crushed. 200's down, 50's down, 8 is down, 21 is down. Well, flattening. 8 and 21s are kind of flattening, but maybe this is a higher low. Maybe it starts to consolidate and starts to turn around eventually. Just not too sure. Same thing with OKLO, OKLO. Nothing to see here. NXE, nothing to see here. FSLR, I missed this trade. I was commenting on it back here when it's breaking this consolidation and going for the gap fill. Nice flag, break out of the flag. Very strong name. This is the place you need to be, in my opinion. It's working into this gap fill here at 266. That would be target-ish area. Is that the thing is it's made a, if you look at this here to all the way up here, it's made a 17% move in 4 days. It's a good move, right? If I were in this trade, I would be profit taking by now. Especially with my process and the short-term traders and blah, blah, blah. So it's 3 days straight up, basically. I would look for some sort of pullback. So I would love a 235.30 to 230.18 area to risk against. I'm leaving my alert right there on the chart. NXT breakout comes back down, retesting this area, this consolidation area. We have, look at all this volume coming in. If you pay attention to volume, care about volume, I don't put too much weight into it, but volume patterns are, you've seen them work in the past, right? So relative to this area here, you're getting little bumps. So especially after earnings, I'd be mindful of it. I keep it on watch. This looks like it wants to press higher. It just has potential supply at this 134.50 and 138.93. So be mindful of that. FLNC, potential area to be interested in. HAL hitting higher highs and higher lows. The trend has not changed yet. VLO, higher high. We're watching to see if there's a higher low here. Metals are choppy, sloppy. These things are hard to trade. I just kind of use them to monitor. I don't really trade them, but I trade in commodities, futures, metals, and so I kind of use these to see what the ETFs and kind of what the equities guys are going to do with the metals. And sometimes, actually, the majority of the time, that has some sort of correlation with what it will do during the day, commodities, future-wise. RKLB, a place to be. Very strong name, strong without on Tuesday the 19th, undercut all these lows and came back, and now it's near the highs. I'd be watching this breakout. I would like for it to get tighter, personally. LUNR is also pretty interesting. I am going to look for this 35 area, which potentially risk the low of this 34.75 of the 3-day pivot there. We shall see. ASTS, strong move. From failed moves comes fast moves. Opposite end range here is target. Potential area supply here. It's come a long way. I'm not going to chase this into here. I'm looking for a pullback, and that might be an area to risk against. IRDM, Iridium Communication, looks pretty solid. It's nice base, right? Nice base. Turnaround. Stage 1 to stage 2. It's a place to be in. You just have to be prepared and have a plan. I don't like this. I don't like the slow grind up. I'm not in it. This is too slow for me. I need some moves. I need some moves, even though this thing that does move intraday. I don't like the slow grind personally. So I'm not in it. LMT, the defense names, they seem to be turning around. They're starting to catch a bid, or they've been catching a bid, but they actually seem like they're starting to turn around now. We might have a gap fill here at LMT up to 550. That's a potential this week. NOC, Northrop, prior support area, holding again, undercut, failed. Look at this, right? That's nice. Undercut that low, close below, failed to move lower. Now it's above the 8. We have the anchor VWAP and the earnings right around here. I think 570 is a decent target if you can find an area. It's very tight right now. Matter of fact, I actually like how tight this is. I'm going to set an alert at, I'm going to set alert somewhere in here just to give me an idea of what's going on. It needs some work though, overall. You know what? I'm going to delete that. I don't like it. I'm going to delete that. Actually, that. It needs some work. That's your cue, right? Right? You say something like that, it needs some work. Is that right? You want to go with the A+ setups. RTX looks like it's starting to base. Needs some work. JOBY Aviation, sorry. Nice move. Continues to fail at the 200 EMA. Failed here. You're getting some volume in. I think it's interesting. I do also think the potential for a gap fill is coming rather soon. I would be interested in this potentially within this area, and if it breaks it on the 200 on the third test, fills this gap rather quickly because this thing can move. So that is on watch this week. Archer, also on watch. Archer Aviation, higher low here relative to here, watching to see if it wants to make a higher high. I have alert at that higher high, but honestly, at this point in time, I would like a 604 to 587 area. I'm going to set an alert Any pullbacks, you can risk this low. That's what I would do. Could continue to be boring. Move on. Coin getting hit. Cannot clear the supply area and actually prior supply area and actually hold it. Same thing with MSTR. We're looking weak. And what's next? UPS. Basing, chopping around. Nothing really to see here. Maybe you got a gap fill coming up. FDX. Nothing. It's just chopping around. Not really a place to be. CME. This might be a decent area to risk against. Ideally, it gets above its 3-day pivot price area here. On Tuesday, we'll see what actually happens. But ideally, it's above this blue box for a decent risk reward. As of right now, though, downtrend line breakout and downtrend line retest. If you are a downtrend line breakout retest trader, if that's part of your setup, find a place to risk against, and admit and accept your risks and decisions, and then you move on. Whatever happens, happens. I think this is interesting. I think this move here is a place to be. I think this low here is somewhere you can risk against. It just depends on what happens over the next couple of days, I think. Let's look at Bitcoin real quick. What's Bitcoin doing? I'm gonna start adding these. Bitcoin hit the 200 EMA and downtrending here. Continues to fail. This might be interesting. I don't know. Is this one big old long bear flag and a longer downtrend? Let's see. Let's do a little downtrend line here, right? Kind of broke that. I got some lines here, just marking out levels. It doesn't, I don't know. I don't touch it very much. It doesn't look the best though. It doesn't, it's not screaming strength. All right. That's that this week. All right. The names again that I think you should pay attention to are Amazon, Apple, Tesla, MDB, NVIDIA, ARM, Qualcomm, DELL, HPE, WDC, ANET, Coherent, NBIS, IREN, CORZ, APLD, GEV, BE, FSLR, NXT, RKLB, ASTS, LUNR, LUNR, GE, and Archer. Those are interesting names to pay attention to. Hopefully this helps. What are you guys watching this week? Like, subscribe, comment below. Let me know if I can make these better for you as well. And I will do what I can. Later, trade your plan, and we'll catch you next week.